was Gavaskar, the real master. Just like a wall, we couldn't know Gavaskar at all. Not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't know Gavaskar at all.
I'm wearing black because it's a black day.
Actually, you know what? I'll give you even more reason to call this a black day, but we'll get into it. I have a surprise tidbit for you on the episode.
I don't even know why it's a black day. I'm just wearing black, dude. Like, I don't know why you had to put so much thought into it. But anyway, welcome to the No Balls Cricket Podcast. My name is Siddhant Pradhan. That is Aditya Devrat. And this episode is sponsored by a Jose Cuervo bottle that has water in it.
We are finally moving on from our Red Bull sponsorship.
Yeah, I've been too lazy to order it. Also, I want to stop drinking it as much. So anyway,
Yeah, aren't you a dentist? Isn't it really bad for your teeth?
it's actually not as bad as a lot of other things, shockingly. Um, so yes, it's not as bad. Anyway, carrying on today's episode. First of all, Happy New Year, guys. We've been missing since before the Boxing Day Test match.
Yes, Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to 2025.
Welcome to 2025 and the shit show that it's going to be. We just know it's going to be a crappy year. On the show today, we're going to round up all of the test
Love that cheery optimism as always.
Yeah. So what's the point in that? On the show today, we're going to wrap up all of the Boxing Day test matches, all of the test cricket that went on, the most pointless test match that ever existed, and then Rashid Khan doing Rashid Khan things. And see, I got sidetracked now. I had this whole brilliant intro planned and now I forgot.
Just because of Rashid Khan doing Rashid Khan things?
No, it was something else now. Oh yeah, of course. And our favorite thing on air continues, Pakistaning, and where in the world is the Champions Trophy, which we finally have answers to now. So, with that in mind, let's swing into the roundup.
Yeah, so since we're going from Boxing Day test onwards, we had 3 Boxing Day tests. It was Zimbabwe's first Boxing Day test since like the 1980s or something like that, or possibly first ever.
Yeah, but then they promptly proceeded to provide us a test match that looked like it was from the 1980s as well. It
was an absolute road. It was an absolute road, that pitch. Bangladesh. Where did I get Bangladesh from?
No.
Zimbabwe started off.
They made 550 or something.
786.
Oh, sorry,
and Afghanistan probably respond to this with 699.
Yeah, so road of a pitch. No Rashid Khan for the first game. And then in the second game, things magically, dramatically turned around because Zimbabwe did the whole Pakistan thing and put like a fan and a tandoor on that pitch, and then stuff happened.
But it backfired in this case, and Afghanistan won that second test pretty easily. But just a note on that first on the Boxing Day test, Afghanistan had 2 double centurions in their innings, which, I mean, when you know that it's 699 is not that surprising, but just because it's, I think, a pretty historic moment for Afghanistan to get that. But Rahmat Shah and Ashfatullah Shahidi both crossed 200. Second test, Rashid Khan did Rashid Khan things, as you said.
It's so funny, I was having a discussion. Ian was doing some, I don't know, bet spread or whatever the fuck it was. I can't remember. And he called me up and I told him, I was like, look, that Afghanistan-Zimbabwe series, I'm backing Afghanistan simply for the reason that A, Rashid Khan, and B, they actually have 2 batters that are decent. Rahmat Shah and Hashmatullah Shahid. And woo, look what happened.
Rahmat Shah got a century in the second test as well, so back that up.
Yeah, no, proper test match batsman. And I think he's the only one with a very stodgy, solid technique. So, on the flip side of things, there have been a lot of calls from the West to not play Afghanistan in the Champions Trophy because of the Taliban's insistence on not having a women's cricket team. But it's only England. And as with everything else in life, you can tell England to suck it.
Yeah, it's you like obviously we've heard the stories about a lot of Afghan women's sports. But now we know, obviously, with Afghan women in general, with how repressive the Taliban is. But we've heard the stories also of like Afghani women having to escape to ply their trade elsewhere. And on the one hand, it's a good thing that everyone supposedly feels so strongly about this. On the other hand, they're all hypocrites. So it's
Yeah, absolutely.
they're more than happy to play Afghanistan in the Champions Trophy. They're more than happy to cash in on Rashid Khan's presence in the BBL and the T20 Blast and the 100 and whatever not. So it's like you can't pick and choose then. Take a stand or don't take a stand.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, England can go suck it. No one cares. Anyway, moving across the border now, we move on to our favorite cricket team, Pakistan.
Yeah, who are also in a Boxing Day test in South Africa. And actually, the Boxing Day test of that series was a pretty good one. Naseem Shah, I think, had picked up like 6 wickets or something in the first innings. And for a while, it looked like it was going to be close because on the third evening, I guess it was, or the second evening, while South Africa were chasing, they were 3 down for like 20 odd. But then they ended up winning by 2 wickets or 3 wickets.
Yeah,
Like
they
that.
were at the close of the third day's play. They were 118 for 8, chasing 150, but that was all down to Pakistaning.
They
Pakistan.
brought Babar Azam. That's what we need to know.
Oh, I wasn't even talking about Babar Azam. That will come up in the second game. Pakistaning the Pakistaniest. Can anyone guess what I'm talking about? No, obviously, because it's Pakistan. Anything can bloody happen. But basically, Mohammad Abbas, previous test match, October of 2021. Back into the Pakistan side, promptly picks up 6 in the second inning.
He was the one who had the sixth. Sorry, that's
Yeah, it
my
wasn't
bad,
Naseem
not
Shah,
Naseem.
it was him. It was
Yes,
him.
yes.
It was him. And
Everyone
then,
and I've never understood why Mohammad Abbas like got dropped because I mean I get it doesn't really have the pace but he's also very accurate and at the moment there's a little bit of movement in the air off the pitch he's lethal.
I remember that series against Australia where they played on absolute roads. And he was the only bowler that came out looking like he could bowl because he just you literally couldn't get him away. Like it was impossible to hit him or something. I don't know. But the funny bit was he picks up 6, and then somehow they conspire to lose despite being in the best position ever. And
99 for 8 and somehow they get a 51-run partnership between Marco Jansen and Kagiso Rabada. Rabada has hit 31 of 26 on that snake of a pitch.
You can't Pakistan any more than Pakistan did in that game. Does that make sense? Did I use it right?
I think you used it right.
I think I used it right. Okay, second game.
Yeah, second game was more of what we expected. South Africa absolutely dominated that. Pakistan, they batted first, scored 615 runs in the first innings. It's honestly impressive that Pakistan, following on, even made South Africa bat again. That second innings, Pakistan's second inning, I mean, they were bowled out for under 100, under 200, and then second innings they got to 470, which I guess is a good effort. But by that time, Thomas had bolted.
Yeah, but by that time, that pitch had also become an absolute. I mean, the pitch was always a road because South Africa got 600 on it.
Yeah, how do you go from 600 to 200? Less than 200. Sorry, I don't get it.
I only have one answer to that.
Pakistan.
Pakistan. There was an amazing moment when I think it was Wian Mulder who threw the ball back at Babar Azam and Babar got into a bit of a staring contest with him.
Yeah.
Much like Kohli and Sam Constas, but we'll get to that later.
If that had been an Indian doing something like that in England or Australia, there would have been an international diplomatic crisis or something. World War III might have started.
I mean, Kohli's already caused one, but that's a different story. Apparently, he's going to play domestic cricket now, but not in India. Which kind of makes sense considering our next test series is in England. Anyway.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. Yeah, so Pakistan go down 2-0. South Africa make the World Test Championship final. And then the ICC promptly announced that Jai Shah ICC has decided that we are going to have a 2-tiered test match system. Slow claps.
Yeah. it's funny because this kind of reminds me of the ODI Super League thing, um, which
And that it was
it
a good
seemed
idea
like
and they binned it.
exactly.
Huh.
And the point was that the ODI Super League was a good idea. It had some flaws. All you really had to do was like work to get rid of the flaws. Instead, you get rid of it entirely. And you're doing the same thing effectively with the World Test Championship. I don't know if the championship itself is going to continue in some way, even in a two-tier system. But basically, you're doing the same thing. And obviously, now that the whole thing has come up with South Africa making the final with despite not playing England or Australia or India in this cycle. And it makes give them an easier path to the final. But then sometimes that just is what it is, and you figured out a better way to get more balanced schedules rather than just getting rid of it entirely just because the big three want to play each other more.
So the thing with South Africa making the World Test Championship final is they've actually deserved it, despite the fact that they got bowled out for 55 by Mukesh Kumar, and they sent a second string team to New Zealand and promptly lost that series, obviously. However, despite all of that, the fact that they've made it despite all of that means that they've played really, really good cricket over the time.
Yeah. Yeah, they had the India home series. They didn't have to they didn't have to travel to India or which under Rohit Sharma they might even have won that series had they traveled to India.
I think they would have won in England as well.
They probably would have won in England.
Yeah.
It's just a better bowling attack. Honestly, between Jansen and Rabada, you just have two strike bowlers in a way that maybe only Australia have to that level.
Absolutely.
Obviously, Australia have three. Yeah, I'm not really. I mean, look, we all know what it is. The Bodo Gavaskar Trophy series has done amazingly in terms of attendance and viewership. Same thing happened with the England tour of India earlier this year, and so they're like, oh, this is what makes us the most money, so let's try making more of it. And of course, dilute everything else. Dilute even this actually, but yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry. Test cricket will cease to exist in about 5 years' time. Anyway, or it'll only be played by England, Australia, and India. Since we can't have India-Pakistan test matches. Anyway.
Also, can Jaisha literally just have a word with Sachin Tendulkar once? Because Sachin can just be like, listen, the more England tests that are played, the likelier it is that Joe Root takes my record. So let's not let them do that.
Fair enough. Okay. Anything else on the
that should be the end of this conversation. Yes, let's get into your favorite country favorite country in international cricket.
Oh, of course. Go on then.
So we had a very funny incident with Bangladesh trying to convince Tamim Iqbal to come back from his self-imposed hiatus/retirement for the Champions Trophy. Obviously, there was a whole thing ahead of the 2023 World Cup, I think it was, where he and Shakib had a bit of a falling out, and so he was like pretty much outside of the international team scene. And of course, now Shakib's gone. So they were hoping they could bring Tamim Iqbal back. And then he decides to announce very publicly that he is actually officially retiring from all forms of international cricket.
So, is this Bangladeshing?
But maybe not. But I told you I had a surprise tidbit for you. We actually happen to be recording right now on the 20th anniversary of Bangladesh's first ever Test win.
It really was a black day. They made 400 on their first day of Test cricket against India. It was a black day, hence the black shirt. Fine, now we have purpose to this. Anyway, why are they even a country, man? Apparently, there was some kerfuffle in the BPL today, and Tamim Iqbal got into a fight with some other dude, and I was just like thinking about it, and they're really just channeling the ghost of the missing Shakib.
Ghost of the missing Shakib.
There was a Bangladeshi involved in a couple of contentious umpiring decisions. However, that was in a different part of the world, which we will get to later. But first, sticking in our part of the world, we finally have answers on this episode to our favorite new episodic television program. It's called Where in the World is the Champions Trophy?
It's in Pakistan and in the UAE, and maybe only in the UAE if India make the final.
No, it's in Pakistan, But if India
But
make
it's also in the UAE.
the final is in Dubai.
So then the trophy is also in Dubai.
But
So we still don't until India get eliminated. We don't know where the trophy will be for the final.
Jesus Christ, this is a confusing mess of a hybrid model.
Okay,
Um,
let's get into the details here. Basically, Pakistan finally agreed to a hybrid model. Also, so it's not just a hybrid model for this tournament;
Sorry,
it's a
hang on.
hybrid model for.
1 second. You continue talking while you explain all of that. I am going to fetch another alcoholic beverage with water in it.
Okay, so another bottle of another fake drink, basically. Yeah. So the basic gist here is that Pakistan agreed to a hybrid model for international tournaments, both that are being hosted by them and by the ones that are being hosted by India. So if I don't know if India has anything on the horizon, the 26 T20 World Cup. I don't know what India's hosting in the next few years.
The 25 T20 World Cup. That's in India.
25 this year?
Oh, sorry, 25,
26?
26, sorry.
Next, yeah, that's what I vaguely remembered. But yeah,
Yeah.
so basically now Pakistan will even that will have a hybrid model, and Pakistan will play its matches, I don't know, at home or in Dubai or whatever. But for this particular tournament, we know that India matches will all be played in Dubai, including India versus Pakistan. And then if India make the final, then the final will also be played in Dubai. Otherwise, the final will be played in Pakistan.
Wonderful. So someone spoke to Jaisha ICC and he decided this. And that is
Jaisha
great.
BCCI spoke to Jaisha ICC.
No, Jaisha BCCI got scolded by his dad, Home Minister Amit Shah. And then Jaisha BCCI spoke to Jaisha ICC. Something of that sort. Anyway, so we finally know where the Champions Trophy is happening. So now we can carry on. That was the final episode in that lovely little segment. And now we can move on to far more important and depressing things. It is India
Like
versus
India,
Australia.
Yeah, so we got two tests to round up and two tests that were both India losses. I have to
And two
eat
tests.
some crow on my initial prediction that India might win in Melbourne. But
Wait.
honestly, India should have won.
Hang on, did I call 3-1? I think I did.
I called 3-1 at the beginning. In fact, I think we both said 3-1 at the beginning. And then ahead of the Melbourne test, I was like, oh, maybe India might win this one.
Well, two test matches, two losses, and two words to describe both of them. Meek surrender.
Yeah, that's like hard to argue with that.
I mean, and Melbourne was honestly an all-time great test match. 7 wickets in the final session.
Also should never have been a loss. Should never have been. At the very worst case, it should have been a draw.
Yeah, they should have drawn that. Sunil Gavaskar's stupid comment for Rishabh Pant's 2 crazy shots.
It was mostly on the first one, but the second one was just as bad. Didn't look as bad. But I mean, here's the thing: they had they had Australia 299 for 5 or 299 for 6 in the first innings in Melbourne. Then they had them 91 for 6 and had a chance to make it 99 for 7, but Jaiswal dropped a dolly when they could have been chasing maybe 200, 250 instead. Of course, then they let Lyon and Boland put on 50 runs for the 10th wicket. And then, of course, yeah, you have the flip side where India's batting continued to fail, but you did get Nitish Kumar Reddy century, and you got Rishabh Pant doing Rishabh Pant things in the bad way.
I mean, wonderfully emotional century for Nitish to get, in front of his father in the front row. All of that. It was a great moment, actually. And it's something that you only really get at a packed house in a test match. And by the way, the 2 games broke the all-time attendance record for test matches in Australia.
Yeah, and the previous record was like Ashes test from 50 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's how big this series is. Probably one of the biggest test series ever on Australian soil, simply because India won the last 2 times they were there.
Yeah.
And so there was this whole hype to it. But the point was, and we asked this question before the series, could India make enough runs? And the answer emphatically was no.
Yeah, multiple times, just multiple batting failures now. And I think outside of was it? So the Melbourne first innings was the first time in 7 tests that they'd gotten to the second new ball in the first innings of a test, and that includes, obviously the 3-0 loss at home to New Zealand, the first 3 tests of this series. Just constant failures by all the usual suspects. Got bailed out obviously by Reddy's century.
The whole
The obviously the biggest talking point is that reverse lap that Rishabh Pant tried doing to Scott Boland with fine leg in third man there, and then of course he gets caught at third man.
I mean, it was a stupid shot. No two ways about it. That one was a stupid shot. I'll cut him some slack for the one in the second innings, because while it was a stupid shot,
It's a long
it was
ball.
just a bad ball. Like, I
That
mean, if
ball
you're not going to
deserved
try
to
and
be
play that shot on that ball, when are you ever going to play that shot?
that ball deserved to be smacked to Sydney.
Yeah.
Instead it found its way to Mitch Marsh, the specialist fielder in the Australian 11 for that test.
No, he was before the fifth test. Someone put it up that he's made a career out of being a non-rounder. Can't bat, can't bowl, only fields. So, I mean, man, he had just as bad a test series as the Indian top order. KL Rahul, while he was protected by the likes of you for the first 3 games, being our best batsman on the tour, as usual, showed his true colors. And when there are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and when India are in a crunch situation, KL Rahul scores a block.
I don't know about this whole protected by me thing. I just said you could understand why he wasn't going to be dropped after the. Hey, this is the Indian. The point is that the Indian management loves KL Rahul, has been. It's like what they did with Rohit Sharma for so long. They did the same thing with KL.
No. The Indian management does not love KL Rahul. KL Rahul clearly has a sex tape of Jai Shah in his confines. Now, where it is and what he's doing with it, he's blackmailing Jai Shah, BCCI, not ICC.
By the way, be ready for him to be first choice keeper for the ODI side ahead of Rishabh Pant.
So I'll give it to him in ODIs. I can still understand him being around. But Test cricket, he should not be in the squad. You can't average 30. What is dropped below 34 now? It's 32 or something after 55 games.
It was also that whole.
I mean, you'd
test
struggle to
was
fit into the West Indies middle order, man.
That whole test, the lead up to that test was shambolic, and then somehow got more shambolic for the Sydney test. But you had the whole because we are saying Rohit Sharma needs to be a proactive captain, so he has to go back to opening. So then, of course, but you can't drop KL Rahul because he's been our best batsman on tour. Or whatever,
Proactive?
blah blah blah.
That was the only activity Rohit Sharma had in the entire game. He lasted about 5 balls anyway.
So anyway, because of that, Rohit Sharma opens, KL Rahul then drops down to 3. Shubman Gill gets dropped after 2 tests. Hard to argue, and Shubman Gill has also not been performing. But yeah, and then of course you don't bring in anything to cover up brought in all those batting cover. You've still the bowling, which has been underperforming all series, does not get anything. You just have 2 bowling all-rounders who aren't going to bowl. Sorry, 2 all-rounders who aren't going to bowl because they're batting all-rounders in Nitish Kumar Reddy and Washington Sundar. Who did put a partnership together to save our bacon in the first innings in Melbourne, but that's not how you select a team.
No, but that's why they were brought in. They literally did what they were meant to do. You can't blame them for anything. But the point is...
No, you can't blame them. And especially not after they've scored a 50 in a century.
Yeah.
But the point is,
the point,
you win that test with an extra bowler, maybe, and if you've already dropped Rohit.
The point is you are covering for I would say misfiring batting order, but that would mean that they had some fire in them. I mean, they were appalling. Like, the top 4 did not make runs other than in the first game, did not make runs across board, other than Jaiswal, who got a couple of 50s in
Jaiswal had a decent series.
Seen of the best barbecue ever. Forgetting that. Oh my God. Kohli barbecued him, man. Anyway. And it went sour from there in Melbourne. And then he made 80 in the second innings while trying to save the game. But then once he got
By the way, that run out was Jaiswal's fault.
I don't care. It was the best barbecue I've ever seen.
That single was
Listen, that run out would have made Inzamam proud. Okay?
That run out, let's be clear. Jaiswal, it was definitely Jaiswal's call and Kohli should have responded, but Jaiswal also got the call completely wrong. That single was not on.
No, that was never a single for sure. Anyway, and then his second innings dismissal is the scene of much controversy, which actually followed into the Sydney game, where there was something similar that was given. Or was it? Sorry, it wasn't given. Was it given? Wasn't
It was.
I'm not really sure
what happened. So, all right, I'll do this. So Jaiswal was given not out. There's a clear deflection that anyone could see when they saw the replay, but it didn't show up on Snicko. But even though it didn't show up on Snicko, the third umpire overturned the decision. At Sydney, Washington Sundar was batting, and it's very similar. I think it was caught down the leg side. And there was a murmur on Snicko, not enough to be considered an edge. And also you could see that there was no deflection. But because of that murmur on Snicko, it was again overturned and given out.
And the man at the center of the controversy in the first game was a Bangladeshi umpire who is carrying out his usual conspiracy theory against India.
The man at the center of the controversy in the second game was Joel Wilson, who is kind of reminds me of the whole Steve Buckner situation from 2008.
Okay, maybe he's
just
not
that bad.
No, he's not that bad.
It's interesting because there was pretty much consensus on Jaiswal being out, and there was pretty much consensus on Washington Sundar not being out. Across across countries and broadcasters, everyone was like, yeah, they got the Jaiswal decision right. Technology should be an aid, it should not be a crutch, and that's how it should be done. And then, of course, everyone was like, no, this is not how it should be done. So when it came to the Washington dismissal.
I mean, and as it turns out, so we found out something really interesting, that while the rest of the world uses Ultra Edge, Australia uses Snicko. They're two different. Yeah. They're actually two different.
They're two different technologies.
Yeah,
they're two different companies. It's the same technology, but two different companies doing slightly different things. There's also, while we're on this note, though, Cricket Info's Cricket Monthly series has done a great piece on the use of Hawkeye and how cricket has kind of sort of led the way in terms of using technology and adopting a very successful and effective technology. I would suggest everyone to check that one out.
Yeah, that's a good read, actually. So India got the selection wrong in both games. One, they were too defensive, and then in the second game on a green, lively seamer, you picked two spinners.
It's also, just remember that right before the Melbourne, or in the gap between the Gabba and the Melbourne test, Ashwin retires. And then the next two tests, you played two spinners.
Yeah, but then we also swapped captains because apparently Rohit Sharma stands down. So he basically says he dropped himself. And then in the middle of that Sydney test, I don't know why he needed to give that interview. It didn't make any sense. But I mean, he needed to be dropped. He was as bad.
Rohit Sharma may have been pushed or may have dropped himself. And either way, I think it's the fact that he was open to being dropped if it was a call taken by Gambhir, or if it was entirely by him saying, hey, look, I know I'm not performing and let's for the betterment of the team, let me sit out this test. I think that's good. That's genuinely, if he had left it at that, I would have called it really good captaincy, and we would have been talking about it for anyway. We have this whole image of the selfless Rohit and all of that. It would have fed into that. But then the whole PR propaganda push that he did, like the interview with Star Sports, all the celebrities coming out tweeting and posting on Instagram with their messages about, oh, Rohit Sharma is such a great captain, blah, blah. Like, dude, like I really genuinely like Rohit Sharma as a cricketer, test failures aside over the years, but he's clearly playing the politics in a way that obviously
very few have.
He's protected by the most powerful man in India, because Mukesh Ambani is, by being the wealthiest, he has the most power. When you're backed by someone like that, you can get away with a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and it was completely and wholly uncalled for, and especially doing it smack bang in the middle of an ongoing test match was what. I mean, that should never happen. You deal with the dirty laundry afterwards. Don't deal with it during the game.
100%. And honestly, the fact that it was, he did, if this was being discussed behind doors, in the pre-match press conference, Gambhir showed up, wouldn't confirm that Rohit was being dropped or was he playing or whatever. I think if you're making a proactive decision, then Rohit should come out and say, "Hey, look, he's supposed to be at that press conference. The captain is supposed to be there. He should say like, hey, we're looking into this. I might not play." It literally should have been left at that. And yeah. I think also I'm going to go off on a minor tangent here for like maybe 30 seconds. Can we please stop clubbing Rohit and Kohli together because they have not contributed to the test side in similar manners.
No, they have not.
Right now,
They really shouldn't be clubbed together at all.
And right now, Kohli is also going through a down patch. And if it ends up with selector saying, "Hey, you're in a decline, we need to move on from you too," that's fine. But the whole like, oh, it's Kohli and Rohit, two test stalwarts. Well, Rohit Sharma was a test stalwart for 3 years. Kohli has been one for a decade.
No, so that's what I'm saying. But the whole point is that, right? Like the difference is simple. One is going to be, or probably could be, in India's best ever side, and is probably the best ever captain that we've. Not probably.
Yeah.
He's definitely the best captain we've ever had in Test cricket.
100%. Yeah.
And the other one is, I mean, you'd literally club him with people like, I don't know, who's
Chetan
like
Sharma.
who? Chetan Sharma? No, that's punching. You're gonna club him like with people like, I don't know, Ajay Jadeja, for example, very mid cricketers,
Yeah, he had a amazing peak when that 2019 season when he was pushed up to open. It worked out. Obviously, had a good tour of England in 2021.
No, wait, sorry. I know who you're gonna club him with.
Who?
His best friend, the coach.
That level of cricketer?
That level of cricketer, exactly.
Yeah, like Gautam Gambhir is not going to make any test all-time 11s for India.
Neither will Rohit Sharma. He may make a one-day 11. That's debatable. But he's never going to make a test 11.
No. And I think there's just been this whole mythology around him with the start of the 2023 ODI World Cup. And then, of course, at the T20 World Cup this last year when, to be fair, he actually lifted the trophy. But the whole thing about like, oh, he's bringing India forward and
the next person that says,
cricket.
I swear to God, the next person that brings up fucking intent is going to have it from him.
And also, like, we did this whole thing after beating Bangladesh, by the way, because we had that Kanpur test, which had like 2.5 days of play total. And in the middle, we had an innings.
Bangladesh.
Exactly. It's a great performance to score at 7 and over for an innings just to push for the win. I really appreciate that. I think, I don't think previous iterations of India teams would have been able to do that. But like also, it's Bangladesh. Can we chill with the, oh my God, Rohit.
And not
Rohit
just that, it's Bangladesh at home.
Yeah.
You should be doing that to them.
Yeah.
I mean, you should be scoring 700 at 7 and over, but that's a different story. But yeah, a lot's been said about that, and just don't club them together. We'll get to Virat Kohli in a minute because I want to say my piece about him as well. But it was wholly unnecessary, and I don't see a way back for Rohit into the Test team now. I just don't.
I think the only thing is that you don't really have a backup opener at this point. Well, hang on.
Do you even have a captain now?
Hang on. Let's be clear. In general, we're not sure who the backup opener is. But for the Indian team management, we
always have a backup opener.
They're going to be backing KL.
Yeah. He really has replaced DK on this pod, hasn't
he? DK, by the way, is playing the SAT20, which is, I think, really cool.
Yeah, you know what? Let DK ride off into the sunset on his own terms, man. Do you think? Anyway, I'm done slagging him off. Once he retired from international cricket, I'm done slagging him off. I think he's a fabulous broadcaster. You heard it from me.
Also, he's pretty fun as a broadcaster. Yeah. I actually don't like him when he's doing India broadcasts because then he's like too deferential to all the to Sunny and Harsha and Ravi Shastri and whatever. It's like when he's one of the only Indians on the whole broadcast team, then he's very good because then he doesn't care about like being overly respectful of all the other Indians there.
No, I loved him when he was doing the Sky broadcasting. And he was absolutely fabulous, honestly. And he did a lot of it. He
Yep.
didn't just do the test matches. He also did the blast and stuff like that. No, he was
Exactly.
really,
Yeah.
really good. Yeah. Anyway, so before we go on, I just want to share my screen.
This is genuinely an elite tweet. One of the best Indian cricket Twitter tweets I've seen in a long, long time. Gautam Gambhir is finding out that being the coach of the Indian team strangely entails more accountability than being an MP. It's also still not true because the media is still sycophantic, but it's still better than, yeah, you can get away with less because fans care a lot more if you're a bad Indian coach than if you're a bad MP.
I mean, there's bad MPs everywhere. There's only one bad Indian coach.
Yeah, and you're a lot more high profile. Um,
Yeah.
Listen, the whole Gambhir process was a sham. Like basically every other candidate was discouraged from applying. And then BCCI Jaisha told, where was he? KKR, Lucknow, I can't remember. So told Lucknow, Gautam Gambhir that you will become India, Gautam Gambhir now. And that was it. And it's like, there's nothing I don't see what he's brought to this team as a tactician or
No,
as
I
a
see what he's
motivator.
brought. I see what he's brought. His stepchild, Harshit Rana. That's what he brought.
Yeah, another
Um,
nepotism pick.
yeah.
Because of the IPL connection. Which, by the way, I don't mind taking a punt like that. And I think Harshit Rana he suffered from what a lot of Indian fast bowlers have suffered from on their first tour in Australia, which is not having the control. So knowing where to bowl consistently. I genuinely think had we gone in at some point with a four-pronged pace attack that wasn't Nitish Kumar as one of the four,
Yeah.
we would have had a chance of succeeding. Um,
We've missed somebody
yeah.
like Shardul Thakur massively on this tour,
Oh yeah.
which sounds absurd to say, but it's true. I mean, a lot
Shardul
of
Thakur has this knack of taking wickets
yeah,
and
even as a
has done
seven-over in
that
South
in.
Africa, remember?
Yeah, exactly. He's taken wickets in England. He's taken wickets in South Africa. He's taken wickets in Australia
Australia.
previously. Yeah.
And the point was, less so about Reddy, but more about Harshit Rana, is he's gotten on the back of basically being Gambhir's stepchild and IPL performances. Whereas Shardul
Yeah.
Thakur got in on the basis of picking up, I don't know, 10 piles of wickets for 10 years in Ranji Trophy cricket for Mumbai.
Yeah.
And that was the big difference. He knew how to bowl. Rana's still far too young. And look, no questioning, there is talent there. There's something there.
Yeah.
How they go about it is another thing. But yeah, that was the wrong call. Now, can we get to Virat Kohli?
Let's get to Virat Kohli.
Um,
Hang on, I think. Oh yeah, he did just edge off one more time.
yeah. Don't worry. You can put a samosa in front of the man and he won't eat it, but you bowl a half volley outside off stump and he will nick it. I swear to God. So Cricket Australia yesterday has put up a compilation of all of Kohli's dismissals in the series.
Yeah, which was I haven't watched it because I don't need to relive that because I watched every one of them live anyway. But also, it's a very brilliant dick move by Cricket
I
Australia.
love it. It's so it feels. I swear to God, it feels like one of Rob's videos where he's trolling someone.
Yes.
Yeah, like it just
It's
feels.
just a Rob used to have those like funny titles or something.
Yeah.
Cricket Australia didn't even need to do that.
No,
It's like
this is
everyone.
funny enough. And also,
Yeah.
if you can separate each of the dismissals, please tell me which one is which, because I can't figure out which one. They're all the same.
Someone had put up a tweet. If I could find it, I will send it to you again. But someone had put up a tweet where literally it was one video, like one frame, but with that included all of his dismissals from this tour, and they're all identical.
Yeah, like that's the whole point.
And you can tell he knows as well because in the second innings at Sydney, the way he reacted to getting out, he was like very visibly pissed off with himself. I mean, which is like, okay, good. You understand that you're bothered enough to be angry, but like, yeah, just I thought you had figured this out 8 years ago, sorry, 7 years ago. We went to England and you managed to score 500 runs against James Anderson at his peak.
I mean, I don't know, man. I blame Saurav Ganguly for a lot of this because he's the one who contributed to his headspace going.
Yeah.
And he's never been the same cricketer since, to be fair.
Yeah, there are two things. The break because of the pandemic in 2020, and I think when Kohli was still on top of form, and India didn't play Test cricket had a lot of Test cricket gets cancelled that year until the Australia tour, and just in general didn't play a lot of cricket as they usually would. Yeah, I think losing the captaincy has definitely hurt his batting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like this is for someone who we've championed for so long, just for his to be able to marry talent and willpower. We've not really seen Indian batters do that, and he for him to then suddenly lose the second half of that, where he's like constantly fishing at that same ball that he doesn't know that he knows he's not supposed to fish at. Honestly, I don't understand it anymore. Like when it happens once or twice, I get it. When it happens 10 times in a tour or nine times in a tour, I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, but look, if he figures that out, and we saw that in Perth, if he figures that bit out, he can make runs. He still can.
And also we saw, but also Perth's second innings was probably the best time to bat, and he was effectively kind of.
No, I thought Melbourne when Reddy got his 100 was the best time to bat.
That's probably true. He was also actually batting really well at Melbourne, and then obviously the run out happened, and I think that stood up with his psyche because
and then he picked it one.
Then yet again, he had been leaving that ball all innings long, and then of course that happened. But I mean, look, he also batted in the slipstream of a very classic. Can you say classic for a guy who's been batting for a year? Classic Jaiswal innings, and it made life easy for him. Yeah, our next Test series is England. England pitches have gotten flatter, and there's no James Anderson, so maybe, but I don't know. His technique has been dissected by everyone. Whether he stands too front on, too side on, he doesn't have a great back foot game unless he's literally playing the pull shot. All of these things, but these are things that were true 8 years ago also, and he figured out a way. It's just, I don't know what he does now.
The major difference I've seen is he's playing far earlier than he was 7 or 8 years ago. And it's made a huge difference to his batting.
Well, his response to fast bowling has always been, let me get on the front foot, let me charge, or not necessarily charge the way modern batters do, but he bats out of his crease. And to be fair, batting out of your crease has been a time and tested technique to counter swing. But he's not countering the swing because he's seeing the ball. He's batting outside of his crease, so he sees the ball that he's not supposed to play at. So he's done that part right, and then he plays at it. So
I swear to God, the only way to describe Virat Kohli is he's a cocaine addict. Cocaine being ball outside off stump.
This is literally, I think, all of his willpower. You touched on it as a joke, but basically all of that willpower. Can you take 2 minutes, go find that clip of Virat Kohli saying what he'll do once he retires, all the food that he'll eat. Do you remember? You know what clip I'm talking about?
I actually don't.
He's like, मैं जाके chole bhatura खाऊंगा, all of these. Like he goes on this like nice little 30-second, 1 minute rant of or a ramble of all the Delhi food he will have that he's been denying himself to maintain top fitness. And then he's saying, the moment I retire, I'm going to do all of this, or butter naan, chole bhature, all of this he wants to eat. Basically, all of that desire to eat all of these things is coming out at his 6-stump line. It's like, I can't get all of that, so let me get this.
So, moral of the story, feed Virat Kohli some fucking chole bhature. Maybe he'll start leaving those balls then.
He went vegan. Maybe this is the answer. He went vegan. He needs to stop being vegan.
He needs to stop being vegan. I, anyways, don't eat vegans. Anyway, and right. So that's pretty much the Indian bit covered. We'll move on to Australia. They had a bit of a train wreck in McSweeney up top. I mean, sorry, we haven't touched on one person in the Indian team, and his name is Jasprit Bumrah.
Who's if Bumrah had been fit for the second, like if Bumrah hadn't pulled up in the last test, we probably win that one too. Which is which is what's crazy, that despite being terrible with the bat, we probably should have won Melbourne. We had our chances to win Melbourne, and then we were in with a shout in Sydney. This is not for as bad as we were, thanks to Australia being nearly as bad and Jasprit Bumrah being Jasprit Bumrah. We actually had a chance to win this series.
But I mean, man, how undeniably, completely, the man he's better than Malcolm Marshall at this point in his career. That's how good he is. Yeah, and
we are going to get to the stage where he is the Dale Steyn in the Dale Steyn versus James Anderson debate, because the whole thing with Anderson and pulling ahead of Steyn in most people's eyes was that he had the longevity, and so he put up much bigger numbers. And Dale Steyn
also just James Anderson put up so many big numbers because he didn't play any other format of the game, and he played a lot of Test cricket, and he played Test cricket for seemingly forever, basically.
He had a career nearly as long as Sachin Tendulkar's. The point is, Dale Steyn, because of his injuries and therefore missing a lot, and of course South Africa not playing as much Test cricket as
but also
anyway.
Dale Steyn
He finished on like 300 odd Test cricket,
but also
and playing other format. So Dale Steyn finishes on 300 odd Test cricket, 360, I think it was.
Oh, he got four. He finished on 400.
Did he finish on 400?
Yeah, he got past 400. He did get past 400.
Okay. Well, the question is with Bumrah is, he's right. He's just gotten past 200. When you look at all-time greats and the list, you always look at the sheer number of wickets apart from everything else. And he's never going to get, he's probably not going to play enough Test cricket to get to 400 or 500 wickets. 300 he should get to.
400 is a distinct possibility. See, 300 is a given. Okay? That'll take him 2-3 years at most. Right?
Yeah, he's already what, 31?
I think he's just gone 30.
Let's check this.
Double check this, but I think he's just gone 30. And
he's 30. He just turned 31. His birthday.
Oh, sorry, just turned 31. Okay. So, yeah, so he's got okay. Let's put it this way. He's got 3 years of Test cricket left in him at the very least.
He should get to 300. He's not going to get to, if he plays 3 more years of Test cricket, he's probably not getting to 400.
Yeah, but the rate he's going at, the thing is, the rate he's going at, if he plays 4 years of Test cricket, he'll get to 400.
The other thing is, he's so crucial to everything for India. Test cricket, ODI cricket, T20 cricket. Now the question is, okay, you won the World Cup in T20s. Can we, and Bumrah's still in his peak in terms of his, what stage of his career he's in. Obviously, we have to manage his fitness. We saw again, overbowled, bowled 150 overs throughout this series. That's going to happen. That he's playing 5 tests like that with no support, very little support.
Also, can I just say,
attack?
I love the Fox WWE style coverage of him going to the scan to get a scan in the middle of that game. So that was totally brilliant.
Oh man, the camera's following him literally till he gets into the car.
Ingenious. I love that. That's troll broadcasting at its finest.
You kind of hope there was an Undertaker moment also.
Yeah, I know. It's like, shit, where's the dude with the steel chair?
But anyway, so he's won the T20 World Cup. So does he need to play T20s? Question is, can we be effective in T20s without Bumrah? Maybe, probably not.
No, I think
we've already seen how much he can contribute at the ODI level.
I think we're really quickly going to move on from this. But I think the point with Bumrah is there's 4 bowlers that he's on the same level as. And this is on the Mount Rushmore, on the list of the greatest ever fast bowlers that ever existed. There are 4 that stand out in terms of average and strike rate. He's one of them. The other three, the other three sometimes is scarcely believable, right? Dale Steyn, Malcolm Marshall, and Curtly Ambrose.
Yeah, I mean, just on pure quality, we know he's an all-time great. And this series, I mean, this is like I don't even know what you compare it to. I want to wax lyrical and all, but it's like it's literally Da Vinci and painting the Mona Lisa. That's what it is. That's what this
No,
series
it
was.
is. This series will forever be known as 150 and Inshallah Bumrah. And just every time you need something, throw him the fucking ball, and he'll pick your wicket. But yeah, that's Bumrah in India. I mean, what a series he had.
Here's the other question. Here's the other question. If his fitness is going to be a concern going forward, can he be captain?
So my problem with him being captain is we'll run into a situation where he might get injured because he plays everything. The point is, if Bumrah quits T20 cricket or ODIs and just focuses on Tests, he'll be fine. He'll play another 5-6 years. Go on, no problem. But if he's going to focus on everything and the IPL, he's going to break down a lot. And he's not got a conventional bowling action. The other three we mentioned have all very conventional bowling actions.
And the action does put a lot more stress on his body and makes him a little bit more injury prone.
Yeah, he's far more injury prone. So you'll see what happens when he starts. I think in another couple of years, he might start losing pace and you might see a little bit of a different Jasprit Bumrah. And the thing is, though, he's such an intelligent bowler and he's got everything so sorted. He's so intelligent, so skillful that you can easily see him morph into like late stage Dennis Lilly, that kind of bowler where he's not quick, but he's so clever, he can still get you out.
It's like, I mean, James Anderson stopped being quick like 10 years before he retired.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's the point that I'm trying to get at. If he breaks down a lot, you can't keep him as permanent captain of the Test team. If he plays just Test cricket, then I see the point. He could become the next Pat Cummins. But
and Cummins plays all formats too. So
yeah, Cummins has a few years on him as well, though, doesn't it? Or no, is Cummins about the same age? Must be actually. He must be the same age.
They're the same age. They're both 31.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, he was about the same age. So I thought. But yeah, like he could do that. Moving on now, we'll speak about Australia because I mean, we knew what we were going to get from them. We knew Travis Head was going to try and bully India, which he did in the first 3 games. Then they figured out how to bowl at him and they started getting him out. We knew Scott Boland was going to do Scott Boland things, which he did. And then he got score in Sydney as well in that second inning. We knew Stark, Hazelwood, and Cummins were going to be Stark, Hazelwood, and Cummins. We knew Lyon was going to be Lyon. I mean, the only surprise really was how bad McSweeney and
to be fair, Lyon really wasn't Lyon in this past series. He barely did anything.
Yeah, but they didn't really give him. I mean, none of the pitches turned, so I don't see where he was going to come in.
That's very true. But yeah, I'm just saying we didn't see the Nathan Lyon that a lot of the kind of home spin dominance, but the excellence that he's showcased, we didn't really get that in this.
But the thing with Lyon, he sort of gives you a level, and you got that level pretty much.
By the way, Scott Boland. So obviously, Bumrah went and won Man of the Series very deservedly, 32 wickets at an average of 13. Scott Boland didn't play the first and the third test.
No,
21 wickets. He missed the first and he missed the third.
Yeah, he
played second.
No, he played 3 games. 21 wickets in 3 games.
21 wickets in 3 games, average of 13.19. He's literally he and Bumrah have nearly identical, and we're talking about this as an all-time great series from Bumrah. And obviously the fact that he gets plays 2 more tests helps. Boland was literally right up there.
I mean, it's technically it's 1.5 tests because he missed the second innings of the last game for Bumrah.
Yeah, exactly.
But but no, Scott. Look. The point is, our batting was so shit. I mean, Stark basically terrorized us in the pink ball game. And
With
then,
Stark does. Stark is a pink ball wizard.
but the thing is, those three guys have been, and now you add Boland to that list, and that's a scary four fast bowlers. Um,
Four fast bowlers who are probably never going to play together.
yeah, that's that's true, right? That's insane. But man, Hazelwood, Cummins, and Stark have got to be some of the finest fast bowlers I've ever seen. Without being, I think out of the three of them, only Pat Cummins is truly exceptional.
I don't know. I think Hazelwood was exceptional too, especially in Test cricket. Hazelwood is up there. Um, I, it's so funny because everyone's like, how do you not get Scott Boland in the side? Your answer is Josh Hazelwood. He's genuinely that good.
No, look, there's no question he is that good. But I mean, India made so many mistakes. But then you got to look at Australia as well and go, Marnus had a poor run and it up till after Perth, till Perth, but basically where you were all questioning his place in the side. Well, guess what? He got 450s after that. He made his place settled.
Yeah, we also gifted him a 50.
Yeah, we did, but he still had to make the runs, right? Steve Smith got his mojo back and then basically tortured us at the MCG. I mean, he tortured us. There was no other way of putting it. He tortured us. Smith found his mojo. He was brilliant, completely brilliant in that Brisbane game. His 100 there was spectacular. And I mean, literally the only person that didn't get runs other than the non-rounder, Mitch Marsh, was Khwaja. And he's what, 38? Yeah. So I don't see him playing for like another year or two.
I think Khwaja's retiring after the Ashes this winter. That's what it is.
Yeah,
I think Khwaja,
gonna happen.
Nathan Lyon might also retire after the Ashes. I think those two are really just hanging on till then. Interesting couple of games for Sam Constance. Coming in after they admitted they got it wrong with shoving McSweeney up the order. Obviously got that great 60 in the first innings at the MCG where he's lapping and reverse lapping Bumrah for 4 and 6. My favorite stat about that is that Sam Constance has a first class strike rate of 51. But here he comes out all guns blazing against the best bowler in the world.
Well, Sam Constance is young, dumb, and full of cum, as the great cricketer says.
He is at this stage, and I'm sure this is going to change because I have a big Aussie hate boner and he'll probably do something to activate it. But at this stage, he's like one of the most likable Australians I've found. And he's not likable because he's sweet or whatever. He's likable because he's a but
yeah. He's a cunt. Say it.
Yeah.
He's a cunt.
I can't. My parents are around, so I can't say this too loudly.
Well, I can. There's nobody here. He's a cunt. Anyway, but he's a like.
When I'm back to my own place, I'll start swearing a bit more liberally.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I mean, look, they had a good series. Constance coming in changed the top of the order ball game completely. Because otherwise,
to be fair, it was really only that one inning. The next three he got up pretty cheaply. But innings kind of changed the mindset a bit.
Yeah, he still had it go. They had a bit more of a front foot positive kind of mindset. And look, they did what they had to. They got the runs, they got the wickets. They played the team that they needed to play. Bo Webster coming in the last game was, an additional.
It was an obvious call, but because Marsh had sucked all series long. But I mean, 50 on debut, got a couple of key wickets. Came in and closed the game off when the chase was looking a little shaky.
Also, can we just have a word for Rishabh Pant, who made 66 of 33 balls in the next game after those comments?
Okay. So Rishabh Pant gets out to that reverse slap to Scott Boland, edges it to third man, then gets out and basically sparks the collapse that ends the game in Melbourne in the second innings with that shot off Travis Head. Then plays so well within himself that you're wondering what have we done to Rishabh Pant in the first innings in Sydney, where he's leaving balls, he's not playing any aggressive shot. And of course, he gets out to the first aggressive shot he plays, where, scoring 40 or whatever it was. And somehow on a pitch where nobody's been able to make runs so far, I don't know what he does in that second. I just think 66 of 30 just makes no sense to me. Like, I don't get it.
It made
In a
sense.
test match on that,
It
in a
made
test match on that pitch.
It made perfect sense to me. Ball? No, not ball. Head of Gavaskar. Anyway,
Can you believe that in the day before the Sydney test started, there was a rumor that he might even be dropped. And you and I were having this conversation, and I was like, you know what? Let him be dropped and at least learn some responsibility. And then he comes and does that.
I told you this at the end of the at the MC, at the end of the MCG test as well. I remember saying this very clearly. I said, "Do you know what? Despite everything, if they even have the audacity to question Rishabh Pant's place in the side, there's something wrong with people. There's literally something wrong with people." Speaking of things wrong with people, it's now time to move into our favorite segment of the evening, which is the No Balls Cricket Awards. Take it away.
Take it. Fine. Okay. Yeah. So a great award. One of the best wickets of a no ball I've ever seen, featuring a other favorite cricketer from the series, KL Rahul. So Jasprit Bumrah running in on 4 wickets, thinks he has, off the last ball of the fourth day in Melbourne, thinks he has finally wrapped up this annoying ass innings where Boland and Lyon has put on 50 plus. Gets the edge. KL Rahul catches it somehow with his knees. I don't know how he's done that. Only for us to see that Bumrah has overstepped.
I mean, just like that is classic. The whole situation there is described by Richie Benaud's famous monotone baritone. It's all happening. I mean, you can't write a more dramatic script than that. You cannot.
And of all people, of course, it's KL Rahul who's taken this ridiculous catch.
It's ridiculous catch between his legs. He's like hugging it like he's going to squeeze his balls or something.
Learning from Jaisha.
You're learning from Jaisha. Which one?
He's been watching that video. We've just been watching that video that he has.
Yeah. Off point. Which one, but ICC or BCCI?
I don't know. This must be an older tape, so it must be BCCI.
Has to be BCCI. Yeah, definitely. And second award of the week goes to the let's just call it sheer stupidity award. I'm going to share screen now. This is Pakistan Pakistaning at its Pakistaniest.
Oh wait, we hadn't already gotten there?
No, we hadn't gotten to that. I saved the best for last.
Oh
Either
man.
either this
Oh
is
no.
either
Oh, no.
made by a person who was born after 1996
I think 1996. I was after 2011. Sorry, 2001.
sorry, well, if you're 2 years old, you're not going to remember that. So fine, we'll go. If this is a person who's born after 1999 or man, there's someone trolling them. What the hell, man? That's just
Okay.
that's so troll.
For anyone who's just listening rather than watching, basically the Pakistan International Airlines tweeted just to announce that there are now flights between Islamabad and Paris. They have tweeted saying Paris, we're coming today. They've put the airplane a little too close to the Eiffel Tower, and it looks like it's about to crash into it.
It's if you guys remember all of those like clips from 9/11, yeah, this is looking like the plane is 9/11ing into the Eiffel Tower.
Exactly.
So for that, Pakistaning. Oh, sorry. I know what the award is. It is the Pakistan's Pakistaning Award.
Pakistan's Pakistani.
And now, since we have inaugurated this award, the other thing that Pakistan is Pakistaning at is that the Gaddafi Stadium still has no roof.
Whoa, that's been a long time since that stadium. How does it not have any kind of covering?
I mean, they've done all of the construction in like the last 3 weeks. So,
That's true.
yeah.
Well,
Anyway,
the Champions Trophy is only what, a month away?
yeah. And the sad bit is it may not even get to host the final.
Which is worse, or which is funnier? India doesn't make the final, so that stadium does get it, but it's not ready. Or India makes the final, so Pakistan don't get to host it.
Do you know what? I know a very good way to end. We let the listeners and the viewers decide. And on that, I don't know if it's a happy note or not, but on that note, it's time to end. Thank you so much for watching. This episode has been sponsored by Jose Cuervo packaged drinking water. And have a good one, guys.
It was Gavaskar, the real master, just like a wall. We couldn't out Gavaskar at all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't out Gavaskar at all.